It's been 50 years. 50 years of hip hop. Let's do a quick review. If you don't know, my name is D-Rel. We back at it again. We gonna do it again. So hip hop just turned 50 and there's been little small and big concerts all throughout the United States. And a couple of weeks ago, maybe I want to say last week, they had a big concert at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, South Bronx, home of the New York Yankees, home of where I'm from. And I'm not going to say it was lackluster, but I will say this. There were a lot of artists that should have been there that weren't there. And it gets you to wondering, let's do a recap of this 50 years and what we've accomplished. I don't want to seem negative, but it feels like hip hop is 50. It's something that we created, but we really don't have any ownership. It would have been nice to see Jay-Z perform. It would have been nice to see a lot more Def Jam artists perform. I will say this, KRS-One performing South Bronx with Fat Joe in the background as a hype man with his shirt off, that's real hip hop right there. That's, that's timeless. Hip hop might be 50 years old, but that part was kind of timeless. You seen people in their bag like it was 1988, 84, 86, the good old days. But with that being said, what do we own in hip hop? We barely own our own music. None of the real legacy record companies are still in existence or being ran by the people that founded them, or the people that founded them don't even have a say or a part of the company or the culture anymore. I know things change, but at the end of the day, this is something we made. Black people, Latino people from the Bronx. And we have really no ownership. There's no more real Def Jams and Bad Boys, Cash Money, No Limits, Rockefellers. Look at Murder Inc. Irv Gotti sold the publishing of Murder Inc. for $100 million just so he could get a $200 million line of credit to make movies. We have no ownership. We're not, in the past 50 years, anybody that started it is not at the end of it or in the middle of it, and maybe it's time to scale back and look and see what we did wrong and how can we progress in the next 50 years. Eminem should have performed. Jay-Z should have performed. MC Hammer should have performed. Hip hop is more than just the relevant people. To be honest with you, the relevant people that's relevant right now shouldn't have performed. Maybe some of them, maybe about 2%, but the people that found, like you had your Ice Cube, that shit was dope. We had our people out there, but I feel like this. For 50 years of hip hop, and I know there's a lot of conflicting schedules, and with this 50th anniversary, a lot of old school rappers are getting booked to do shows across the country. But with that being said, and you got 50 Cent doing his victory lap or his 50, whatever tour he's doing, that 50th anniversary at Yankee Stadium, that should have been a whole weekend event. It should have been Friday, they do a concert at the Barclays in Brooklyn. Then Saturday, they do a concert at whatever stadium, baseball stadium the Mets play in. I don't think it's Shea Stadium anymore. They probably renamed it or reorganized it or whatever. And then Sunday, the closeout, have the concert at Yankee Stadium. That should have been a whole weekend event. Just like they got Bronx Day in Atlanta. We're going to talk about Bronx Day a little bit too. Bronx Day in Atlanta, where it's a Thursday to Sunday thing. This Hip Hop 50th should have been a Thursday to Sunday thing, where you come to New York, the Mecca. This is ground zero of hip hop. I don't care what nobody say. You got a lot of people from the South that say, oh, hip hop started in the South just because they ain't got nothing better to do. Break beats, a lot of those started from James Brown. That's the only part of the South and the samples and all that. But when it comes to rapping, Beats to the Rhymes, Run DMC, Curtis Blow, Def Jam, Russell Simmons, Tila, all of that shit started in New York City, the Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Harlem, Long Island, Staten Island. Understand De La Soul probably ain't performed because you know what they going through. Tribe Called. It was a lot of honorable mentions that should have been in the forefront, been there and performed. You know what I'm saying? For 50 years of hip hop from all over the country, not just New York artists. You got your shoot. Snoop should have performed. I don't know if Snoop performed. Did Snoop perform? I don't know. I think he did. But you had Ice Cube. Everybody. You could have had, you know what? You could have had some of these dudes from the South. Outkast. Remember, Outkast was the ones at the BET Awards talk about they want to be heard. Biggest stage. Yankee Stadium. Pay homage to where it started from. Not just saying, oh, it's about the Bronx. This is the Mecca. Like Malcolm X went to Mecca. I don't give a fuck where you from in the United States. The Boogie Down Bronx is the Mecca of fucking rap music. I don't care who has it now. The Bronx is the Mecca. We started this shit. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, the South, the West, the Midwest all played their part to help build what we got together. And it needs to be more togetherness. I know I made videos talking about how the South be hating on the North, but it's true. But at the same time, when you look back at 50 years, a 50 years body of work in music, hip hop music, everybody played their part. Luke should have been performing. Not Luke, but 2 Live, you know, people from Houston, people from Sir Mix-a-Lot. Like I said, Hammer. The people in the Midwest, Chicago, Twister. All of this is hip hop. That's the community. That's the family. Everybody. Everybody. New York was just a blueprint. And every other city and state took what they were going through in their community and put it on wax and added to hip hop. It should have been a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday event. Not going to be around for the next 50 years. Most of us ain't. Run DMC closing out the show, super dope. Who I think should have closed out the show was Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons should have walked on to that stage on Yankee Stadium and pulled the "Thank y'all for coming out. Good night and God bless." But it was a lot of people. Rockefeller, the Rough Riders, you know, it could have been done better. It was done great, but it could have been done better, man. You got Madison Square Garden. They could have did something at the Garden. The baseball stadium, Shea Stadium. That's what I call it. I don't know what it is now. The Yankee Stadium, the Barclays in Brooklyn. That could have been Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, man. But it was dope. Brought out Derek Jeter, Nas performed. I'm upset Jay-Z ain't performed. A lot of people that talk that King of New York shit, a king of hip hop, and who's the top 5, blah, 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 blah. Why weren't you there? I understand your wife and your daughter's on tour, but you were supposed to show up. Motherfuckers from Philly. It was a lot of people that were not present, you know? It could have been better. It should have been better. It was great. But it should have been something that was legendary. But, like I said, Fat Joe being the hype man for KRS-One singing South Bronx, that was some shit. I felt Fat Joe, pause. When he was in the background, boom, 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 that's some Bronx shit. Like the Italians say in the Mafia, that's some La Cosa Nostra to the core. That's some South Bronx shit to the core. Should have had Black Sheep out there. Native Tongues, Jungle Brothers. A lot of artists should have been out there. A lot of artists were there, but a lot of other artists should have. I don't know if Dougie Fresh performed. think Slick Rick performed, but it could have been better. Rel's Rants Reloaded. What we're going to talk about in the next episode, female rappers and them destroying and running the music industry right now, the hip-hop industry. Like I said, my name is D-Rel. This is Rel's Rants Reloaded. If you can, like, subscribe, and share. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.